So tell me, why did you choose your major?
When I was a member of the congressional debate team in San Antonio, Texas, I attended a lot of competitions around the state. I really needed to set an example for my team by winning, and would do this by making speeches that would be judged. I ended up making a lot of speeches on economic issues, and I found that I really liked them and they were starting to get judged really well. So I honestly found a love of researching, learning, teaching, and speaking on economics, and this really helped me choose my major. And this proves that for your company, I have a lot of public speaking skills, especially on the period of economics.
Okay. Now, what are your three greatest strengths?
Um, I am very involved in the LGBT Center and its affiliated club named Saga. I have to be involved, gain respect, and I also wanted to win one of the elections in the Saga club. I ended up losing the election, but in losing that election, I developed a lot of passion for LGBT issues and have decided not to give up and to keep running. So one of my strengths is passion. I ended up gaining a lot of respect because another one of my strengths is I'm very approachable. And so people would come up to me and want to talk to me and get to know me. And I ended up gaining a lot of respect in both the LGBT Center and in Saga. Finally, with involvement, I volunteered for every single event that the LGBT Center put on. And one of my other strengths is social contribution, which is exactly what I did within Saga and the LGBT Center. So this really has developed my strengths and they keep developing. And I feel like they can help your company because my passion will prove that I don't give up. My social contribution will reflect well on your company through volunteer work. And finally, my approachability will help with customer service and a lot of areas in your company that deals with people.
Okay. Now, what is your greatest weakness?
My greatest weakness was really shown when I was treasurer of the debate team. I was tasked with redoing the bookkeeping system, inspiring the community of the debate team, and finally organizing a lot of our fundraising and funds and stuff like that. Well, I ended up having a lot of idealistic expectations that didn't mesh up well with reality. People started not turning in their dues and not being involved and not being inspired to help with the treasury of the debate team. So reality kind of set in, and that ended up turning into a weakness. I'm sometimes more idealistic and don't look at some of the details that need to be looked at. While this was frustrating, I actually ended up accomplishing a lot of the goals that I set out as treasurer. So I think this proves that I'm able to be adaptable and to get over one of my greatest weaknesses.
Okay. Now, tell me about a time you had a conflict at work.
One of the biggest times I had a conflict at work was when I was chair of something called Leave Yourself a Legacy Day. It's a day of service at Appalachian State. We had an issue with something called contact tables. Now, contact tables are tables that are put up in the student union to help publicize any event that happened at Appalachian State. Well, the publicity committee, on the day that the contact tables were supposed to be there, the publicity committee had not made any signs, they had not made any flyers, any type of thing that would have helped publicize our event at the contact table. So what I decided to do was I released the people who were working at the contact table. I contacted the chair of the education committee, and we both worked together to make trifolds and stuff like that to put on the contact table. And finally, I myself made flyers. And lastly, I went to the publicity committee chair and had her redo her priorities and realize how this was not a good thing to simply drop the ball on the contact table. We ended up having an actually very successful event that was very well publicized, and a lot of this comes from the actions that I took in solving this problem. And this proves to me, and hopefully to your company, that I'm also very adaptable, that when problems arise, especially personal conflicts, that I can deal with them in a very organized and successful manner.
All right. Now, one last question. How do you define leadership?
I define my leadership style as compassionate, passionate, and optimistic. And this is really proven when situations arise where I have to motivate team members. I respond in a way that I understand both the sides. I understand why people aren't motivated and try to understand any conflicts and personal conflicts that arise. And I don't lose hope. I don't have a pessimistic attitude in approaching unmotivated team members. I use that optimism that I have within my leadership style to help motivate the people around me. So my actions really result in a more motivated and cohesive team. And this is just one example of my leadership style. There's a lot of others, but I describe it as compassionate, passionate, and optimistic. And that's the way that I think leaders should